flowing in from the Windy City, it's time for JW Fusion with your hosts, James and Wendy B.
Welcome to this week's podcast of JW Fusion. I am your co-host, J.H. Carpenter Barnes, and I'm here with the amazing
Wendy B.
Oh, the amazing Wendy B, who is right so much. We welcome you this week to an amazing broadcast. We got another great show, babe.
Yeah, I'm excited to just
we have a brilliant,
pick this man's brain.
We have a brilliant writer here with us. Brilliant writer, activist, spokesperson, and soon-to-be public speaker.
Yes.
Mr. Evan Roberts.
Thank you.
The one and only.
Thank you for coming on our show.
Thank you for having me.
So how are we going to get started with him? What we gonna
I don't know, babe. I'm going to put on my headphones so I can hear.
Okay. So, Evan, tell us, how did you decide? You're a teacher,
yes,
correct?
ma'am.
Now, what do you teach?
Biology at the freshman level.
Oh, he's real smart, babe.
He's real smart.
He teaches biology. I loved biology, though, in high school.
Yeah.
So, and you teach what grade?
Freshman, ninth graders.
God bless you.
Thank you.
But that's good because they still a little nervous, though.
God help you.
They still a little nervous, though, so they're not as bad as like the seniors.
They're not as bodacious.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably for about 30 days.
Yeah. So how did you get into, or what made you want to teach biology?
In college, I was a pre-med bio major, and I think as far back as just being a young child, my parents would say, what do you want to be? I would say, I want to be a doctor. And I didn't have really any motivation other than just maybe I saw it on TV or maybe I read about it in a magazine.
Yeah.
But I just said to them over and over, I wanted to be a doctor. So when it came time to actually have to make a decision on what I wanted to major in, I decided to be pre-med bio.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
We were both pre-med bio.
We were both at DePaul. We were both pre-med at different times. And I dropped out to play music.
Okay.
My mother had a fit. She wasn't happy at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I graduated some years later, but I started out as an architecture major. And because I got discouraged trying to get an internship, I changed my major because I knew doctors who were going to help me get into medical school.
Right.
I didn't know anybody in the field of architecture, so I said, okay, let me go where I'm known, where I have support, So I gave up the architecture thing.
Yeah.
And went into pre-med.
Yeah, for me, the story is a little different. So I was a wrestler in college, high school first, and then in college, I was at Chicago State. But after my freshman year, they decided to get rid of the program due to Title IX and just a few other things that were going on.
Yeah.
So I went from not having to pay for school, and at the time, Chicago State wasn't really that much.
Yeah.
But I went from not having to pay anything to now you got to figure out how
it's all on you. Wow.
Yeah. And so going through that experience, I just, I didn't want to come out of med school and owe money,
a lot of money.
Yeah, tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Because that little experience was enough to where I missed a semester. I had to figure out work, what I was going to do to pay.
Yeah.
So it made me reevaluate. But I also didn't want to waste a year or two that I was already in pre-med. Because you hear about all these people who go to school and then they get a degree, and then what they do full time doesn't match their degree.
So many times.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to do that. I wanted my time to matter. So I decided to continue with the pre-med path, even though I knew in my heart of hearts I wasn't going to pursue med school.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that was a smart decision.
That was smart.
You wanted to make use of what you did so far so it doesn't go to waste. I know for me it helped me because I'm an environmentalist. I'm an environmental specialist. I work for a government regulatory agency now. And my biology background helped me and with get into that position.
Right.
So God has a way. We do not see it. We do not see it.
I want to ask you, because for me, I didn't continue that journey because I had to work full time, so I dropped out. And I heard you say that you dropped out for a semester. What was it in you or around you, your environment, that caused you, okay, I'm gonna stop, but then I'm working to get back?
Well, So
which was awesome.
Yeah,
I think.
my parents have, especially my mom, have always instilled in me the value of education. So it wasn't a question of finishing. I just needed to figure out how it was going to work, you know. And for them, I worked really hard. I was a good student. You know, I graduated in the top 20% of my class. I was fine academically. I wasn't a knucklehead, you know. So I knew I would figure out what to do. It took a semester going, whoa, you are not getting any money.
Yeah. Like, did you miss it? Like, I need to get back in school. I miss it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And more so just the time to figure out how everything would be paid for.
Okay.
Yeah.
To create your plan.
Yeah.
To finish. That's awesome.
That's good, man.
Yeah, because so many people don't finish because of money.
Yeah, it is, but it takes.
And it's more expensive now.
Yes.
And that explains why you're such a great writer. You don't quit.
Not at all.
You don't quit.
He's a bulldog. He holds on. The bulldog, you clamp on, you don't let it go. Yeah.
That's that wrestler thing.
Yeah.
Wrestlers are. I know when I was in high school, nobody messed with the guys on the wrestling team.
I wouldn't.
I don't care
That
what
wouldn't be a
weight they
smart
were.
move.
People mess with football players, basketball players, guys on the track team. They did not mess with the wrestlers.
Yeah.
I know
Because
nobody.
once they get on you,
You don't know what to do with them.
you don't have to because they know what to do.
Right.
So you go from teaching biology. What gave you that idea? I want to write.
So when I started out teaching, I was on the west side of Chicago at Al Raby High School, and it was a small environment, about 500 students total, and a lot of great experiences. But I saw every day kids coming from a community where, you know, economics was just tough, and the environment wasn't positive.
Yeah.
And just all the challenges that they had just coming to school. And I always said in the back of my mind that they were operating at the genius level just to get to school every day.
Wow.
To be
That's
able
true,
to,
though.
you know, just to be able to go through all of the things emotionally that they were experiencing. So at that time, I was just journaling, just my experiences as a teacher, you know, what I would hear kids say, or just different conversations that we would have together. And I had a student in my AP environmental class who ended up not finishing school. He was very intelligent, very bright, but decided that he needed to be more at home to support his mother, to support his family, because they were going through some things.
And that's a common story.
It is.
It is.
And at the time, I went to his home and I tried to make sense of it, but it was my reality. It wasn't his. You know, in the back of his mind, I got to get a job and make money so we can make ends meet.
Yeah.
And I respected him for that decision, as hard as it was to look at him and say, man, you're not going to be in my class anymore. This is crazy.
But that's huge that you went to the house. You took that extra step to at least try. And I'm sure that even now he remembers, like, I had a teacher come to the house because he really wanted to keep me.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah, it's kind of uncommon too.
It's very, you was on the west side too, so.
Yeah. I know.
Right.
I mean, years ago, teachers had a different approach, a different drive, a different purpose, you know, and now it's kind of, which I understand. I think teachers should be paid better.
Oh, way better.
Because
they should be the top ones
teachers,
paid.
especially public
Top
school
fields.
teachers, because of what they deal with in the environment and the disadvantage that they have as far as the tools that they have to teach these kids in the environment that they're dealing with. So you have to have better skills. It's kind of like a person who has really great tools, but they're not that great. They're not that skilled. You don't have to be that skilled if you got great tools. But a person who has lesser or inferior tools, your skills has really got to be better to reach that kid and to reach inside of them, and then because you got to change and undo a lot of things.
You're right.
You know, especially going from grammar school to high school, that's a huge shift.
That is a big step.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a culture shock.
It is.
It really is. And they don't understand. You're 4 years from facing the real world. 4 years that are
And
going to
life
fly
is waiting
by.
for you.
Yeah. And so
Right.
as an instructor, it's incumbent upon the teachers to convey to them not only the knowledge of that classroom, but as much knowledge as they can slip in about life
Right.
lessons.
You got to teach life.
You got to teach life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And we, you know, I had conversations with students that were amazing. I remember one in particular where a student, one day, I think at the time he was a freshman, and it was, it may have been after school. There's a number of students that were in the classroom just hanging out, and he wanted to engage me in a conversation about the N-word. And, hey, Mr. Roberts, aren't we inwards is what his question was to me. And I said, it's interesting that you would say that because, it's such a derogatory statement. Do you understand where it came from and what it means? And so we had this long dialogue about how that's not us, although some of us choose to act that way.
Right.
Yeah.
And
That's
it was
awesome that you did that. You didn't say no. You didn't start. Just have the reaction. You engaged him so that he could get an understanding of that.
It is, and
topic.
that you didn't come from a negative place,
Right. A lot of people just automatically get that like cold water shock, and they respond that way.
Just from the way you said that, you like calmed the whole thing and centered it and balanced it and said, no, this is what's what. Because I had an experience just yesterday. Wendy and I were out gallivanting around. We stopped by the house to get the mail. And so I've been driving. So she said, I'm going to drive, which I was so happy. So we were switching places. So I'm standing by my car, and I'm standing by, I got a blue Porsche, and it's in the driveway, and Wendy has a tan Acura, a bronze Acura.
I was about to say it's not tan.
Yeah, so we have, we stand in front of the house. We got a nice house. We stand out in front, and this Caucasian guy drives by, and I thought he was waving.
Yeah.
And he's looking at me with this look,
Scowl.
and then he gives me the middle finger.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And then waves it as he drives by, and I'm like, whoa! I was shocked because that hadn't happened to me. It happened to Wendy. She was out running, I believe.
Yeah, and a van of guys drove
because
past
we
and
know.
said the N-word.
But my point is that I had to say, well, wait, I'm not going to get out of who I am, because my first instinct, let me run this dude down.
Because we from the hood.
We from the hood. Man, let me show you something. He couldn't have got away.
We could have run it because it's a slow. You drive slow down the street.
We could have run him down.
We could have caught him, but it wasn't worth what.
It wasn't
the
worth
worst
it.
case scenario.
And your response is how a lot of times you have to deal with negativity is to diffuse it. Just take all of the stench out of it. Take the sting out of it. Take all of the negativity out and say, hey, this is what this is. This is not a reflection on you. That person who used that, they have an issue, not you.
Right.
And it's
So that
nice
was a
too
good lesson.
because you weren't the first person he approached about it. He'd had that conversation with several other people, I'm sure.
I'm sure too, yeah.
And number one, he felt comfortable enough with you to bring it to you, but the way you handled it was gold. You know what I mean? Like,
Thanks.
You caused him to go home and actually think instead of being defensive about your reaction. And that's what we have to do with children. Like my son he comes to me with he's 18, some crazy stuff. And I have to know that he has to always see
stay calm.
Smooth and calm. And some of the stories he tells me on inside, I'm just like, what?
You did
Are you
what?
crazy? But I have to handle it in such a way because I want him to continue to feel comfortable coming
talking
to
to
me
you.
about
Exactly.
anything.
Yeah.
So I scream inside and later on, James, let me tell you what he said.
Do you know what this boy said?
So that's awesome. So, okay, you were journaling. Let's get back to the question.
So journaling.
writing.
And then when that happened where the young man didn't come back to school, I started to just reflect and say, I have to have a bigger way of impacting these young people here. And so I started to think about what I could do that would be something that would be meaningful.
Okay.
And that was my first book, which was a self-help guide for teens.
Okay.
And there were 8 principles that we focused on in the book. And it took readers back to when I was in high school and trying to navigate my own journey and make it to state in wrestling.
Sure.
I figured, man, going to state is a big deal.
It's huge.
Not every
It
kid
is,
goes.
right.
Yeah.
So if I could weave in some principles on how that happened, and maybe somebody could read and say, wow, if I do this and apply it to this goal or that goal, no matter if it's an academic or athletic goal, that I could achieve it because somebody has provided me with a blueprint to use.
Right. Because both require a plan.
And they both require 3 elements. You have to have purpose, what you're doing. You have to be skilled at what you do. And you have to be accountable to yourself, to your team, whether you're an individual sport or if it's football or whatever, you're accountable to somebody. If you have those 3 things, excellence comes out of it. And so your book pointing out your path, somebody can read that and say, wow, he did this. And most times people write books about money. I made so much money. Well, everybody's not, the issues that they have don't revolve around money. They have other issues they need to deal with. Some people are just trying not to be depressed, not wanting to kill themselves,
Yeah.
wanting to make it through their educational phase, And so a book like what you've written is huge. It's huge. I would imagine that. How long ago did you write that book?
So that was in 2013.
Okay.
When I released the manual, and then a year later, I created a workbook.
Okay.
Because I had so many parents that reached out, I'm like, hey, this is pretty good. Could you mentor my son?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Mentor my daughter? I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't have a
You run
curriculum
out.
or
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just doing this,
Yeah.
because I thought it'd be a good idea.
And you
And
go
so
through
I-
a few things, especially I noticed that you did in that book, becoming impeccable with self. That can mean so many different things. Now,
Yeah,
does that
talk
mean?
about
Yeah,
that.
talk about what
talk
does that
about that.
mean?
What does that
Impeccable
mean?
with self.
So I kind of equate it to people who, they have that New Year's resolution of wanting to lose weight, but it's just a resolution. It's not within. It's just
Okay.
it's that time of year where I should be doing something different or new. And
Yeah.
so they make the choice, but it's a superficial surface. It's a surface choice.
It's from the outside in.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they never really get to the point where it's meaningful. And so they're not impeccable with this because they go to a fast food restaurant and they forget about the goal.
Yeah.
Or they work out
It's
for
just a
3
burger
weeks.
this time.
Yeah,
you know,
and they forget about the goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where when I say impeccable with self, I'm talking about really having that deep reflection where you say, what I think about, what I say, what I do are in alignment with each other.
Love that.
And if that's happening, I think you're going to be on a path to success. I don't know how you could not be, unless you're doing something that's just terrible.
You know what?
Right, right.
I agree with that 100% because the thing that's missing in many lives is cohesiveness. When you have one part of you that's saying success, but inside you believe failure. You expect failure. You're anticipating failure. You're looking at all the negative things inside you or around you even more so because most people, I always say this, which is what my new book, Shattered Ceilings, is dealing with. People living from the outside in by cause and effect. They're allowing the things outside of them to dictate their behavior, dictate their level of being impeccable with themselves, being accountable to themselves, being skilled, being responsible. They're allowing the things outside of them to dictate how the quality of that person. And that shouldn't be.
Shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be. We should live from we got God inside of us. If we got God inside, then we should be able to tap into that part of God inside of us and then draw from that and then present that on the outside of us. That's how I live. I go inside first and look for what I need, and then I deal with the environment. Because if you allow the environment to control you're not going to make it. You're gonna fall on your face.
And teenagers succumb to that a lot.
Or you become stressed.
Yeah. But teenagers have that peer pressure. They see what's on TV, what they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
And I love the freshman age because they're awkward. They're starting to question some things.
Yeah.
They're a little more open to someone like you who's going to just pour into them. Because you can cause them to succeed or fail, especially at that age. And you are engaging them and you want something more than just a good biology test.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You're doing, that's just your vehicle to touch children. And I love that. So, and I love the fact that you made it for teens. That's for boys and girls. It's not just, which is important to boys, but it's for both because we got to teach them together so that they can be more engaging with each other in a more respectful way.
I think that'd be a great book to gift
That was my next
make
question.
available
Yeah.
at cost to freshmen. You know what I mean? Because they'll have a guidebook because they respect you. They'll respect you.
Because he respects them.
Yeah, Quentin respects you. I know, and Quentin is he's a unique guy. He is. He's his own person. He believes that he's creating his own world, but he had a great deal of respect for you. And when you have that with young people, that means a lot because they don't fake. They don't like fake. They don't do fake.
They can see fake a mile
They
away.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
and they'll let you know. You know, so I don't know. I just think that would be an awesome tool for them to be able to use to help them get through high school and college. Because a principle is a principle.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what helped me. A book called Where There's a Will, There's an A.
Yes.
And I read that, and it turned my complete world around. I went from failing my exams when I went back to school for programming. I was in my late 30s and my job had closed. I had to go back to school. And my first exam, I got an F because I didn't know anything about computers, and I decided I want to be a programmer. That was brilliant, right? So I went.
Stood out on faith, right?
I stepped out on faith, and all as far as I got was the F. I got that F on that first test. I got another F behind that. And so what I did was, that's okay, this has got to change. And I came across this book. Someone gave it to me, and I did exactly. I followed it step by step. That was the last F I got ever. From then on, throughout my educational, when I went back to school for my degree for programming, when I got my doctorate, all of those, I got straight A's. I got an A on every paper I wrote. I got A's on every exam I took, and what that did was it changed my paradigm about approaching education and learning. So my point is that when you have good principles, that it can help you in every area once you get it, and you make a shift and become a new person. And the way you become a new person or change your personality is by changing your personal reality by what you think and what you feel. So what you've written, I think, is a great tool.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I do.
So now on to the Kahari. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yep, Kahari, yep.
Say it again.
Kahari.
Kahari Discovers. And that was inspired by your son, Gavin.
Yes, indeed.
So tell us about that. It's a series.
Yes, it is. In 2016, we released the first book. But if I rewind a little bit, in 2015, so I was in a library with my son, and we were doing what every dad does with his son. Just about you go to the library, you're looking for books that have black boys. You want them to be involved, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
And I asked the librarian, just, in passing, I said, hey, do you guys have a big collection of these types of books in the library that we can get all the time? And she just gave me that look like, are you kidding me?
No,
No,
right. Yeah.
we don't. And she went on to tell me that this is such a huge need, and how I'm not the first parent who's come into the library to ask her about, books that have black boys. And she said it's a huge need, but we don't have enough of those types of books available.
Wow.
And immediately an idea, jumped into my head to switch.
Yeah.
So prior to that, I was only writing for teens. I never had any intention of writing a children's book.
Yeah.
And had it not been for my son and this conversation I had with the librarian, who knows? I maybe would have never written a children's book, you know?
Right.
But I decided to start writing for children. I'm like, man, I can create something. You know, this is not that hard.
Yeah. And that's cool, because some people, number one, wouldn't have asked. And then other people just leave frustrated. But you chose to do something about it, which is huge.
You know what? I'm going to tell you something else that I thought about, because when I was hearing about a lot of people are writing children's books, but then I realized everybody that's writing a children's book isn't a children's book writer. They're writing a children's book. Very different. That's like somebody cooking an egg and a chef who cooks for a living.
Yeah.
Right.
Is cooking an egg, and a person that's cooking an egg.
And if you look in the if you just look at the genre in general, most of the books that have black boys as the protagonists are written by white people.
Okay. Okay.
Wow.
The majority of them.
Okay.
That are mainstream, books that you would. So it's like, what the heck? Not that they can't do that. That's fine. But where is our voice?
Yeah.
Where are we representing?
Yeah.
So I wanted to take on that challenge. I thought it'd be a awesome thing to figure out.
Yeah.
That's cool.
One of my dreams, part of the business plan that God gave me is a publishing company. It's called All I Imagine Publishing. And it's to publish voices that need to be heard and publish them on a large scale, not where a person has to run from one book fair to the next, but be able to publish those books and get them into the mainstream media, get people on Good Morning America and other talk shows that the big five put people on to promote their new books. We don't have that, and I think with the proper funding, it can happen. And I'm believing for that funding, for that to happen, because that's the reason the show we're doing. We promote writers, we promote business owners, and people may wonder, well, why are they doing this? We're promoting voices.
People who want to make a difference.
People who are making a difference.
Yeah.
Everybody we've had on the show is impacting the lives of hundreds and thousands of people.
Right.
Everybody.
Yeah.
You know, and probably more than they even realize.
Yeah.
You know, so
and we thank you guys for it. That's
well,
awesome.
I tell you what, I've told you that I admire you and what you do, but the idea when I hear people talk about I'm gonna write a children's book, well, because they see it selling, they want to jump on it, and if your heart isn't in it, how good is the product gonna be?
Right.
You know what I mean?
And that's what I mean by they want to make that difference.
I'm
sorry. They want to make the difference. Some people just write because that's lucrative for them or they believe it to be lucrative. But the people that we have on the show, they want to make a difference.
Yeah.
They're not just accidentally making a difference because they happen to write well.
Yeah.
This is their desire to make a difference.
Yeah. I agree with you 100%. And to your point about whether you're writing, when I did the research on children's books and the amount of money that you have to spend.
And people don't understand that about books. It's not just you write a book and you release it and, you know.
No idea. And it was way more expensive than my self-help guide.
Wow.
No illustrations.
Yeah.
No word.
Yeah.
So when people say, oh, I want to write a children's book, but they don't really understand the industry or aren't willing to do the work, I just say, I mean, you can do it, but people are going to feel your authenticity. You know, they're going to see
That's
it.
good.
You know,
that's good.
And if you're in it because you think, and you're not going to make a ton of money with one book.
No.
You know, I don't care who you are as an author. You have to have a lot of different books that people know. Even the authors that are mainstream names now, think about their collection. They have a body of work that people go to and go, oh, well, he's written this, that.
Yeah.
And that's why he's so successful.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's true. So when your first book came out, how was it received?
Well, so I did something that when I look back now was smart. And that is I use a crowdfunding source to not only raise money, that was part of it to help me finish the project, but I also was linking my social media to the crowdfunding source and giving out information about the progress of the book. You know, you throw an idea out there to social media, people are like, whatever, you know, he's not going to do it. But then they start seeing, oh, that's a mock cover. Oh, here's a chapter 1.
Oh, that was smart.
Oh, here. And I didn't realize at the time what I was really doing. I was just trying to say, you know what, let me get people engaged. And see. But it built a following and people saw, hey, this guy's serious. He's not just saying things to get attention. He's actually serious about the craft of becoming a writer. And that allowed me to connect with way more people than I ever thought I would. And the book it took off. It was great.
Yeah. That's awesome.
This is not the first time in this talk that you said engaged. So you're very good at engaging. You get engaged the children at school. You engage the parent when you're trying to get the child to come back. You engage your potential readers. So the key word is engaged.
You know where that come from?
I know you know. That's what I know. You gonna give us the etymology of it?
He's a wrestler.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah,
he's a wrestler.
Engaged, all right.
And wrestlers engage.
Whether they're pointless.
Am I right or wrong?
We do.
All right.
Yeah. And there's a certain level of tenacity.
Yeah.
And because you got to get in people's face and wrestle. You just have to. It's a sport.
So I want to get into the joy of family. I saw that and I just thought about 3 people who I could gift that book to, and it's about a family welcoming their first child.
Oh, yeah.
That's always scary.
It is.
It's exciting. It's scary. You like, wait a minute, I'm gonna change my mind. Like on the roller coaster when you get to the top, like, you know what? That's okay. Like, no, you're going. You're
exactly
in it now.
right. And when I wrote it, so my son, when I say, hey, I'm gonna write a book about us, he's like, okay, Dad. And I'm like, but I don't know what I'm gonna write about.
Yeah.
So he was like, well, write about me.
I know that's right, Gavin. He's like, hold on, you got a good subject right here.
So I thought about the first few years of his life, and not only the fun things that we did, but also the challenges that we face internally as new parents.
Oh, yeah.
The fear of, you know, him riding a bike or going out and people being
sleeping
around
through the
him.
night.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
That's simple.
So all of those things kind of played a part in the story. And in the story, it's not just about fun things we did, but it's also about the parents overcoming the apprehension and the fearfulness of being new parents.
Okay, yeah.
I got 3 people, so remind me to talk to you about that later. But we're coming up on a commercial, babe.
Yes, we are.
We still got more to talk about. He has a whole lot of information for us.
Listen, we'll be right back with Mr. Evan Roberts, our very special guest on JW Fusion. We'll be right back.
This book is the story of Jameson Harold Donovan, who lives in the city of Sussex Falls. Feeling trapped in his dysfunctional marriage to his wife and a stranger to his own children, thoughts of suicide dominate his waking hours. Jameson discovers he was selected before birth by the Almighty to receive quasi-angelic abilities. Between the ticks of the clock. You're listening to JW Fusion with your hosts, James and Wendy B.
We're back to JW Fusion with our very special guest,
Mr. Evan Roberts.
Mr. Evan Roberts, and the amazing and remarkable Wendy B, who is right so much.
No pressure, people.
No pressure at all. Just keep your record going. My wife has a gift at being right, and I love it because it helps me.
I love it. He loves it. I love that you love it.
I do. It helps me. It helps me. But anyway, you were talking about the book and the family.
We were talking during commercial break. I like to say that.
I know.
That you have these various books. They're all about 18 and under basically, but they're different subject matter. So that brings me to the brilliance of Janae.
Okay.
How did that come about?
So I'm a science teacher.
Yeah.
I have 2 nieces, and all of my books, I didn't realize it as I was writing the first one, but they all have this theme where I
hold them up so they can see them on the camera.
Yeah, definitely. So this is the brilliance of Janae.
Oh,
and
look at
Janae is
the colors. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
my niece's middle name.
Okay.
Kahari is my son's middle name.
Okay.
And I wanted them to see themselves in the stories.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted them to read and go, man, that's about me.
This is nice.
That references
Isn't that
who
nice?
I am.
Yeah.
So that book is about a little black girl who comes to visit her family, and she teaches them about plants and microbes. She teaches Kahari specifically why plants are important. And we also talk about famous black women scientists and then some major science things like composting and plant anatomy.
Okay.
Yeah, so just
She got black girl hair. I like that.
Oh,
Thank
yeah,
you for
indeed.
that.
Have you thought about doing animation?
I have,
from your books?
Yeah, I have, and it's a lot of work to produce a children's book.
I can imagine.
So, and I've networked with a number of people, and to produce a book, you've written a book, so it's not an individual. It's a bunch of people who are working together. Mm-hmm. But those people cost money.
Yeah.
And you have to jockey that with purchasing books, with being able to do live events, with traveling.
Yeah.
So I'm just taking it one step at a time.
I really see the message being of great impact because we turn on Curious George all the time for Christian, and they teach a lot of science, and this I see as being a superior model vehicle to do that. Even the images that you have, it's just gorgeous. And
shout out to Janine Carrington.
I was about to say Janine did that.
Yeah.
Janine
Carrington.
Hey, hope Janine gets to listen or see the video.
Yeah,
I think that Evan's going to make sure.
Okay.
No doubt.
She listens. Great work, Janine. That's awesome. And then, so then you flipped on us with the autism book.
Yeah, and the order, so Joy Family was first, and then the autism book was actually second, and then the Brilliance of Janae. So I wrote the autism book because I have a nephew who's on the spectrum, and then looking at the resources that are available to young people that have autism, there's not a lot of books.
Okay.
There are some that talk about autism, don't get me wrong, but if you try to find a book that talks about autism, and then it's a children's book, and then it features black characters.
Yeah.
Good luck finding that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I immediately knew that it would be something that parents who have African-American children, black children, would see it and go, wow, this book is something that I can use as a resource for my own child.
Yeah.
So for me, it's about representation, and you've heard me say this 1,000 times. Representation matters. We want our children to be able to be scholars, to enjoy reading, to enjoy what it means to be intellectually minded.
Sure.
Well, we have to model that, and we have to put examples in front of them
Yes.
of that,
Yes.
and they will pursue it. Just like everything else.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, there was some things put in front of me as a child that I modeled. I wish I hadn't, but I did.
But that's what kids do.
Yeah.
Oh, so this is that's part of the Kahari Discovers.
Yeah, series.
The meaning, and I like that you wrote a book about the meaning of autism because, for instance, I have two were special needs. So I was struggling to teach my healthy child the diagnosis of his siblings. And we found one book for one of the diagnoses for Christian, and he still has it to this day. It helped him understand it in a child's, the way they think and what they read. So this is good for people not only who have autism, but someone who just wants to get the basics of what does that mean. You hear it, but it's such a broad spectrum.
It is. Yeah.
You don't know does this person have autism? Like, you don't know, and how to act and react around people with autism. So this is the cover. That's awesome.
We need to get you on the Wendy Life too.
He will be. Oh, he didn't. I was on that.
You on that? Okay.
Now that I just released that this year.
An activity book.
Yeah. So my wife
cool.
is a reading and literacy coordinator at her school.
Okay.
And we sat there and said, you know what? How can we take this and make it even more valuable for educators who
Yeah.
are working with these types of students? So this is an activity guide that focuses in on 4 research-based reading strategies.
Okay.
Help young people to really understand what the message and the story is all about, but also provide an educator with some tools, or a mom who is homeschooling her child, or just somebody who says, you know what, I see the value in this, and even though I'm not homeschooling anybody, I just want to use it.
Do you find educators are welcoming your books with open arms?
Big time. We just did a Dads and Donuts event up in Bellwood.
Okay.
And the principal of the school, Principal Stamps, was amazing.
Okay.
She invited all of these fathers to come out, and the center that she runs is 3 to 5 year olds.
Okay.
So we
good.
went there, and young children, no doubt, but the dads were there, and we had a chance to speak to them and share with them why our passion for writing, but then also why their voice is so important. I've been reading to Gavin since probably before he was born.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
vital.
early.
It's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge.
I did the same with Matthew.
I mean,
he comes in here with volumes. I'm like, you gonna read this whole book?
He reads those 400 and 500 page books, and he finishes
easy.
them.
Like, he's locked and loaded until he's finished.
Statistics show us that 7% of people finish books that are over 500 pages. 7%. The rest, they'll read it and then they put it down.
Right,
But-
they read a little part of it.
Yeah, most people do not read something that huge.
Yeah, Matthew was
Matthew
like,
will.
no biggie.
He'll read it.
I'm going to read this. And he
Yeah.
stays with it until it's, I just love this book. Okay, so do you have, I know you said, I think your nephew is autistic.
Yeah, CJ.
Do you have ideas of branching out to other, I don't know if we want to call them disorders or diagnoses?
That's a wonderful question. Last year, I went and participated in a sickle cell event with a
That's
friend of mine,
huge.
and his daughter is affected by sickle cell. And I was amazed. I donated blood for the first time. For her birthday, they did this
Okay.
whole benefit.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
To raise awareness for
Sure.
sickle cell. It was phenomenal. So, it got me thinking. I have a student whose parent is really a big advocate for it. So, it got me thinking about other things that we could potentially do. I wrote about autism. I tell people now, I'm not an expert on autism. I just wanted something that my nephew could see himself and say, man, that's me.
Yeah.
And so I hesitate to jump right into something unless I really know about and I'm passionate about, because I don't like gimmicky things, and people that have those disorders don't want somebody who's trying to make a buck off
Right.
of their
See,
illness.
that's
And
the thing. That's the
yeah.
thing right there. People doing things for the money. It's about informing. If you're not informing someone or training or ushering a person towards transformation where they need to change and make some shifts in their lives, then I question why you're doing what you're doing. Because there should be a shift in that person's life. I mean, a shift where it's measurable and it's something they can quantify. They can say, wow, I was here and now I'm here. Or I used to feel this way, now I feel this way. Or I used to think this way about myself. Now I no longer think that way. I think this way, in a positive
Right.
way, and I'm heading this way, and I'm sharing it with others. Because there's so many people, especially kids, who have negative self-images. I mean, oh my gosh. And I think that's where bullying comes from. People projecting how they feel on the others in a physical sense.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
You know? So what you're doing, man, I think it's something that needs to go another level up. It needs to, and I know money is an issue. I know it is. But we're going to believe with you that the finances you need to do, because this could be a weekly television show.
Yeah.
And I know animation is no joke. I know it's not. But, and I don't know how popular it'll be to have something that's geared towards African American children. But be that as it may, it's a good product. It's a good, how do I say, a good group, a good image, a group. What is I'm looking for, babe? It's when you have a brand. That's the word I'm looking for. A brand. That's the word. It was stuck in there. It was back here. I had to knock it loose. It's a great brand. It really is.
He does have a great brand because he, like I said, he doesn't stay with one focus. It's one brand, but it has different focuses within that brand.
Yeah.
And that's huge. So I really hope you do something on sickle cell.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
It's nice because, like, I know I grew up, I heard about it. Like, in our community, we've always heard about, like, autism for us. We didn't hear about that when we were growing up. That was something fairly new. Right. But it wasn't something that was talked about a lot. Sickle cell is something that we've always known.
You always heard about it.
But we don't really know about it.
We used to hear about sickle cell trait and sickle cell anemia.
Right.
Yeah. We didn't know what it was.
We know that there are crises where it's something that's painful, but we don't really know.
Yeah, and when I think about the, sickle cell, there's so many avenues that you can hit it from. You can talk about the blood.
Yeah.
You can educate young people on their blood and what are the different cells that make up your blood.
Yeah.
You could teach them about things that you can do from a health standpoint
to
help.
Yes.
Augment some of the different challenges that people
you see him light up. You see him light up.
So
he was like, "Yeah, you can do this."
He's a teacher at heart.
He's a science teacher.
He's a science teacher at heart.
Let's talk about the cells. Okay, wait. Did we hit all your books?
Yeah, you know what? And this was the first one. So Kahari discovers the joy of family.
Janine is cold. You see Janine Carrington, girl.
That is so gorgeous. I love that.
This is beautiful writing. They're beautiful.
So James and I, we were talking at our last meeting with C-Band about just different directions that I've been going in. So what's up next with the Kahari series is I've done a number of different live events. So every year we do Printers Row. I've been to the Indianapolis Black Expo. I've been to Sacramento, the Austin Book Fair in Texas. So a lot of different places. And parents there, my books are more so intended for like second or third graders, especially with the number of words that I have there. But they were asking me, hey, can you do something for younger children, like that toddler age group? So I thought about that. And at the end of last year, so I go like the whole year doing events. But at the end of last year, I did my last event, I think, in October. And then I used all of October, November, and December to plan out what I was going to do with Kahari Jr.
That's smart.
Kahari
Jr.
So I have Kahari Jr. getting ready to be released. And I don't have a physical book just yet, but I did bring one thing I can show you guys today. I hope I can show you.
This man has he got clipboards. He has what do you want to know? He got it.
So Kahari Jr. Is going to be a 7-book series.
Okay.
Intended for the toddler, the kindergarten age range. And the topics are all there. So share.
You pretty much, you've written these books, right?
They're all done.
They're all written.
Not only are they written, but the illustrations everything's done. Okay. I'm just working with my book designer and my editing team just to make sure we have everything in place. But everything's done in terms of...
Those are cool titles.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Let's see. Let's tell.
But think about having a series that has black children featured all throughout and is teaching them about everyday things that they experience.
Yeah, these are the basic things that we go through with children that age. I can go potty. I needed you right about 17 years ago, but it's okay.
And we got fathers in there. We got mothers.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
And I love it. And James knows I will get on the soapbox about dads. Dads are so important, and I keep trying to make sure that for Father's Day, people go out and just love on dads like they do moms, because dads are so important.
Because one thing I think, Evan, we were talking about trying to do some trailers for this to promote the books, and because I do trailers for my books, but I would help him because of the platform he has.
Yeah.
That's the other word, platform.
Yeah.
Bland and platform. I don't know,
They
man.
came to you. It's okay.
I think I needed my tea today, babe.
That's all right.
I think I needed my tea.
You
had the hot water going too, and I said, I'm going to drink water.
My allergies
I needed
are crazy.
Evan, I needed some tea, man. Get my synapses firing.
There you go.
It happened. It's okay. So now public speaking is something that you endeavor to do. How, like, I know you do the events.
Mm-hmm.
So what type of audience are you looking for? Parents, educators, teens themselves?
Yeah, so one of the first pieces of information that was shared with me when I was writing my self-help guide was to take some of the chapters and turn them into workshops.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Good idea.
And I'm trying to think of the young lady who did that. She's amazing. She's like a media personality, well known. Her name will come back to me.
I know,
but anyway,
she's gonna be screaming at the
right.
You forgot my name.
Right. But she recommended that. I went to one of her. This was when I was first learning how to write, and she had a workshop at the Madison Library.
Okay.
So I was there, and it was all women, and I was like, it was me and another guy in there, like whatever.
Yeah.
But we
So
learned.
you're there to learn.
We learned a bunch.
Yeah.
And it was one of the best things that I've ever been told about writing, because I took those workshops and I shopped them to libraries and I shopped them to schools,
Good for
and then they
you.
would have me come out and speak to young people.
Nice.
Or speak to their teachers about, motivation and success and working with kids. So now what I've done is, for the Kahari series, I put together an entire presentation and I shoot that to different schools. I'll send it out to a principal or superintendent, and they have been receptive, very receptive.
Be.
So we've come out and we've done, and the kids go crazy because
Wow.
I'm like a big kid in front of them. We have a blast.
That's cool.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. That is
So
awesome.
that's
'Cause
kind
he
of my
knows how to
target market right
engage.
now. I see myself also helping out at graduations, being able to empower our young people and understanding the journey that they're on. I just, self-help is a big part of my life. Like, I didn't realize it, but back in college, I sold cutlery. I sold Cutco.
I was about to say he sold Cutco.
Yes.
We got some Cutco
Lord.
upstairs.
My very first self-help book came from being a part of that business. I still have it
Nice.
with me right now.
Okay.
I bring it with me everywhere I
Okay.
go.
Wow.
It's a book by Brian Tracy called Focal Point.
Love Brian Tracy.
Oh, he's amazing.
Jesus.
Learned
He's
so
a
much.
genius.
Yeah.
And in his work, he talks about how you can become 1% better every day.
Yeah.
And that's all you got to do.
Yeah. And it's
Just
not
is
1%
yeah,
better.
It
You
doesn't
know,
have
and
to be
how-
overwhelming. You
No, it
just
doesn't
make
have to be 1,000%.
better today than you were
Yeah,
yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is something that I think our young people need to hear more about, because they see the end result. They don't see the gradual progression that led
The
to that
years
person.
of work.
Yeah.
The work.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of kids, I don't know how prominent it is now because I'm not dealing with teenagers like I used to.
Uh-huh.
But there was a time when videos and movies played a big part in their view of how life was.
Mm-hmm.
It's like instantaneous wealth, instantaneous
Right.
success.
It's still there. It's still
Is
there.
it?
Any
It's still-
you
I
turn
kinda-
on the
I
television
kinda
and
see-
this person was a no one, and then next day he's
Yeah.
a popular whatever.
Yeah, and it's,
And that's not reality though.
it's not. Those persons they're phenomenized, they're unusual
Or they've been working like beasts
behind the scenes.
behind the scenes.
Exactly.
And so now you see them. I think, God help me if I'm wrong. I want to say Diddy or Timbaland. They were huge behind the scenes. Neo, I know it was Neo.
Okay.
He was big behind the scenes. No one knew him because he was writing the music and he was producing the music. And so he comes out with an album. They're like, "Oh," I'm like, he's been in the game.
He's been doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of times you see overnight successes.
Sure.
They've been grinding.
Yeah. Yeah.
But people don't see that, and they think like, how can I just pop up? You can't.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
like you said, I went to learn when I was learning to write.
And I'm
Most-
still learning.
Most people think you're supposed to have this
No, it
this
doesn't.
halo over you with this gift
Yeah.
on how to write. You learn
No,
how to write. You make mistakes.
you-
learn from it. You
It's a
open yourself
grind.
up to people who are experts in that
Yeah,
field.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you figure it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and just like you said, Brian Tracy, the book helped you.
Any book on
your
Brian
book-
is cold.
Your book is helping somebody.
Yeah.
You may not even know. I don't know, but does Brian Tracy know the impact he's had on you? Probably not. You know,
Yeah.
the impact you had on someone else, you don't know. And that's the idea behind your work. You're not doing it to be recognized. You're doing it to be effective, to
Yeah.
bring change. And if each of us brings a 1% change to the world.
That's huge.
If everybody brings a 1% change to the world, what kind of world would we live in?
Yeah.
What kind of human family would we have?
Yeah.
You know, so that disposition that you have, and I kind of suspect you probably going to write a book about just 1%.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the self-help space, I've been like fighting fighting to get there, because I know, you know, the adult space is another challenge, you know, to be in.
But I think you're going to think of it as a good challenge. Like,
oh yeah, no doubt.
This space is lighting up. It's a challenge.
Well, here's the thing, though. See, he's got the children's book platform.
Right. He already has
that's your
base.
success story.
Yeah.
And this is, and then you take the principles just like you did with your first book, the first self-help book. You take those principles that you used, that same tenacity, that same 1% mentality that you took, and you put it into a format to train, to teach people, to share it, because that's what it's all about. Where would we be if we didn't have the books by John Maxwell?
Yeah.
And
Brian Tracy, Stephen Covey,
Les Brown.
Yeah.
You know, and others
Napoleon Hill.
People who may be lesser known names who've written books.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons I'm going to Austin, Texas in about 3 weeks. So Dennis Kimbrough, who wrote Think and Grow Rich and Black Choice, is going to be one of he's the keynote for that event, and I can't wait to hear him, live.
You're always learning.
Yeah.
You're always learning.
I remember when I got that book, it was, man, I can't remember how long ago it was.
It's a powerful book.
It is.
I mean, you can read it and keep it and then read it later, and you're going to find something different because you're different.
Yeah.
So you're going to glean something different from that.
Yeah.
And to your point, Wendy, about the process of success. So years ago, my wife took me to go see Usher, and we went to go see him right here. It was, at the time, it was like the First Midwest Amphitheater. Now it's changed or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're there, right? It's cold.
Right here in Tinley.
Yeah, right in Tinley. It's chilly out there. I mean, you can see your breath. It's chilly.
Yeah.
So how's Usher gonna perform in this weather? It's not ideal. So he comes out there and puts on the show.
Shuts it down.
Of a light. I mean, just kills it.
He's a great entertainer.
So after watching him, I'm like, this dude is phenomenal. I gotta find out his story. And I go and I look, and
I love this child. Like, he's like, I just want to meet him. I gotta, he's not like the groupie. He's just like, I want to learn Okay, go ahead.
You know what? Let me say this. Don't lose your thought.
Right.
Evan is a perpetual student.
I love that.
You and I are perpetual
yeah.
students. We're
he's like, I got to know how
learning,
he did
man.
that.
That's amazing. Anyway, finish your
ahead.
thought.
No, so he, and thank you for that, by the way. He so his mom used to take him all across the South to perform. He would perform in like these little one-room shacks.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people. And he did that for years before anybody really picked up on the name.
See, again, he's grinding
Usher.
Behind the scenes.
And now we see, all the amazing things he's done, but it just speaks to that. Nobody saw that except for his mom and then a few people who maybe attended those shows early on. But that's how success happens.
It is. It is. And it can happen at any time in life.
Yeah.
That's the big thing with my story. 'Cause at the age I am now, my plan was
25?
Yeah.
Wait, what are you talking about?
I take that. I'm telling you, man, I was planning on sitting back, relaxing, and looking back over my life, and working for 40-something years, doing different things, because I've done everything from being a blue-collar worker to real estate investor, and so I'm thinking I'm at that point in life, and lo and behold, God inspired me to write this book, and from writing the book, we got the radio show. We were invited by Artist First Radio, which that station is amazing, man. The people there are amazing, and the talent, the people they have on that program is amazing, really. And they invited us. They asked me. And then we met Road to Eternity, the production company, and Wendy wound up with a television show. I'm going to be doing a show next year.
That's
the
awesome.
one that Evan's going to be on.
and I'm having a show starting
2020.
in 2020. It's going to be called Shattered Seedlings, based on my book. So it's going to be like an hour, half an hour show. But my point is that as opposed to me getting back, getting ready to sit back and relax, I'm gearing up to do some things I've never done before.
And that's exciting.
It is.
Yeah.
And what it lets me know is that as long as you're willing, if you have a gift, God will take that gift and bring it before great people for you to serve. Because that's what it's all about. You're serving. You're serving humanity in a phenomenal way.
Yeah.
And just like Wendy is for the special needs community, I am as far as transformation and change goes. And so it's so vital that even people that are listening to our program today, don't ever feel that your message or your dream has passed.
Right.
As long as you're breathing, your dream has life.
You're
as
not
long
too
as
old, you're not too young.
You're not too old, you're not too young.
Yeah,
Well,
You don't need
Earl
more
Nightingale says the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. That's his best definition of a goal.
yeah, okay.
You know,
Say that
Say it
again.
again.
the progressive realization of a worthy ideal.
That's
Who
your
said
goal.
that?
Earl Nightingale.
I like
Awesome.
that.
Yeah,
I
he
like
has a
that.
book called Lead the Field, which
Okay.
is also another one of my
Write that down,
self-help.
babe.
I got you. I'm on it. Lead the
We
field.
got, we
Yeah,
got so many books around this
It's a
house.
collection of amazing essays
Okay.
on success. It's just,
Okay.
I mean, and so anytime I feel like the energy's not there or my mind is wandering and I'm not laser focused
Yeah.
on something, I'll go back to it and it'll
Yeah.
it'll help me out big
Okay,
time.
say that again because so many, Lord help me, so many people get in a rut. We all do.
Sure.
You know, something isn't going the way we'd want them to go, and we stay in that. You find, like for me, depression has always tried to get me, but I overcome. But when I know my triggers, I have, like comedians, I know where to go because I won't stay in that space. So when you have that time where you're just like, "Rrr," you have your go-tos. And so people need to understand that it's not going to be this smooth road to success. You're going to hit a whole lot of bumps. So you have to have things in place, people in place in your life who are going to surround you and lift you up. Like, nah, you can't stay there. Come on, let's go.
Yeah.
Or you got this. You know what I mean? You just
Yeah.
need you got this person.
Yeah, you're
we all
right.
need a hype person, I think.
And you got to realize too that the bumps are part of the journey. You know,
Yeah.
the bumps they're not in addition to. They're
They're
part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're part
It's
of
part
you.
of your learning.
Yeah.
And it prepares you for the next step. So when you hit the next bump, you're like, I got over this one. I can get over this one. And you strengthen yourself. You thicken your skin more the more bumps you overcome.
You have to. You
Yeah.
have to, because the negativity that's just in the air. There's so much negativity in the air in our country right now.
That's welcomed.
And people blame the
unfortunately.
president. I don't blame the president. I blame our society for ignoring God. That's my personal opinion. I don't blame the president. No one man can create the turmoil that exists in this. It's a spiritual thing that's happened. And it's going to take people embracing the fact that, okay, we're going to have difficult times. We're going to have hardships. You got mountains and you got valleys. It's
Right.
just the way it is. So instead of blaming someone, why not look within and say, okay, this is a tough spot, but I've been in a tough spot before, and I'm going to come out of this. What did I do before? Okay, I read this book. I started meditating more. I started praying more. I changed my diet. I got rid of some ignorant friends, people who were sucking the life out of me, that weren't benefiting me, weren't helping me.
Yeah.
You call somebody up, man, so-and-so happened. Frenemies.
Yeah.
You call them up and you say such and such a thing happened. Man, I know let me tell you what happened to me. And by the time
they want to up your depression. It's like, really?
oh, really? Well,
You don't see
my
who's in the worst shape. Are you serious?
my tire fell off my car. Well, my engine fell out.
Yeah.
Oh man, our time has gotten away from
but
us.
real quick before your website is
Yes, website is-
Yeah, .ejrbooks.com. Pretty
EJR
easy.
Books. Now,
Yep.
can they get your books on that site too?
Yep, they can.
Come
Yep.
on, y'all. Let's support this phenomenal author with a passion for children.
Thank you guys so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for being here. This was fun.
Until next week, next Thursday at 6:00 p.m., this is James H. Carpenter Barnes with,
And I am Wendy B.
who writes so much. Allow God's grace to flow in your life as a mighty river.
Be blessed, everyone. Hi, this is Wendy, and welcome to The Wendy Life. This is a brand new show. We are celebrating some unsung champions in our community, the disabled community. I have been a mom of disabled children for 21 years, and I look to bring light to this community. We are going to talk to and celebrate therapists, teachers, doctors in this community. We're going to talk to the special needs community themselves. People who are rocking out this life despite their disability, showing us how to live our best lives no matter what life throws at us. You can find us on the Ultimate Faith TV network, which is on your Roku streaming box, or Road to Eternity on YouTube. That's Road, the number 2, and Eternity. Come check us out.
The Wendy Life. New episodes every second and fourth Friday on the Road to Eternity channel.
Thanks for listening to JW Fusion with your hosts, James and Wendy B.